in just 1 second to really break down on where that rotation is located. So we've got several different warnings up here, okay? This is the tornado warning right here in that darker red. That's just to the west of Camden. But we have this severe thunderstorm warning with a red outline. That means that we're just dealing with winds that could be considerable, 70 miles per hour. Then this is a severe thunderstorm warning. That includes Camden. This orange polygon with the yellow outline, that is saying that we do have the potential of a tornado within this severe thunderstorm warning. But right now, the tornado warning is in effect for western parts of Ouachita County, Highway 278. Now, Corallys, let's go over to the winds tool and take a look at the winds within this storm cell. There's definitely an uptick of rotation right along Highway 278. Also some rotation down here into Magnolia. But here you go, Mendenhall, just to the east of Mendenhall. That's where that rotation is. We got Highway 57, the community of Troy and Spring Hill. Corallys has outlined where that rotation is. So where these blues are, this is the winds going into the storm, and then we've got the winds going away from the storm. Now, which radar are we looking at, Corallys? Is it Shreveport or Little Rock?
This is the Shreveport one. I switched over to Shreveport. Okay. Prior, it was the Little Rock one. So that way we can see whether or not which one has a better idea of how it's looking like. So this is the Little Rock radar right now.
So Little Rock's going to be a little bit higher in the atmosphere.
Yes.
Probably Shreveport's going to be our better option to take a look what's happening closer to the ground. This is a Doppler radar indicated tornado, but they've had some damage in the community of Waldo in Columbia County. So that's why they went ahead and said, okay, this storm's a little more serious because it has had a history of producing damage. And we do have certainly some rotation very close to Mendenhall and also just to the north of Spring Hill. So if there's something happening, it's going to be in this area. So if you're watching us in Mendenhall and right along the intersection of 278 and Highway 57, now is the time to go ahead and take your tornado precautions because this storm is starting to spin like a top and it may produce a brief tornado at any moment. If we can zoom in a little more, Corallys, and bring up some of these very small roads, there's County Road 4. And there you see County Road 152. So we're dealing with a very rural area. Hopefully, if there is something that does happen, it's in the woods or over a field. We don't advise homes to be affected, but we're on air right now because we do have a tornado warning in effect for western parts of Ouachita County. Let's span it out here, Corallys, and take a look at the radar and also looking at the potential of some very heavy rainfall within this cell as it makes its way from the south-southwest. It's moving off to the north-northeast about 45 miles per hour. So there again, this red outline polygon, that's where the tornado warning is in effect. It does not include you folks in the city of Camden. It's just off to your west. So pretty much in between Ralston and Camden along Highway 278, that's where this cell has started to rotate, and there's another cell rotating into Columbia County. Now that one may get close to Camden. So Camden, you're not out of the woods by any means, but at this time, you're not under a tornado warning. That may change if this cell continues to show rotation down into Columbia County because that will move into more of Ouachita County. Corallys, if we can put some towns, let's put a track on this system.
Yes, you're reading my mind. I'm about to get that ready right now. It's moving right now to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So I'll go ahead and zoom in just a little bit more. It's a little bit of a rural area, but we can start to pick up a little bit more of those communities. So I'll go ahead and put that track real quick. So to the north and east-ish right there. So zooming in, the communities that are underneath that path includes Crossroads Church at 11:15, pretty much right at your doorstep. And then further down, we got Zion Hill Church. So if you recognize any of these churches that you attend in Ouachita County, just give people heads up if you know that they live in that area as well. And if you do recognize that area, of course, make sure to find your safe place, the centermost area of your home, the lowest area that you can find in your home as well. It could be something that has 4 walls around you. You just want to make sure you have lots of walls around you. And then continuing further down, we have Adams Chapel, we have Poison Springs State Park, And then at 11:30, Bragg City, continuing further down to the community of Leicester and Capernaum Church, if I pronounced that right, at around 11:38. So within the next 20 to 25 minutes, this storm still continuing to move towards the north and east. I believe the warning is until at least 11:45.
All right, thank you, Corallys. Let's go ahead and span it out, look at more counties into South Arkansas to see where this cell is headed and if there's more cells to be concerned about, because there are more cells to be concerned about. We've got cells starting to go with tornado warnings in Louisiana, and these cells are making their way off to the north and northeast. So once again, southeast Arkansas is going to have a higher potential of seeing cells continue to rotate as they make their way from Louisiana into southeast Arkansas. We've got the low-level jet, or winds about 5,000 feet, kicking in about 40 to 55 miles per hour, and that adds a spin to the atmosphere, allowing the storms to begin to rotate. As you see here, most of the state, we're just dealing with rain, some heavy rain at times that could cause some minor flash flooding issues. Here in Pulaski County, Saline County, heavy rain taking place. But let's zoom into Pulaski County and Saline County, Corrales. And then also, when you get a chance, we're going to take a look at the winds within this line just to make sure there's nothing suspicious happening into Saline County and also into Hot Spring County as it moves into Little Rock. Right now, looks like we're just seeing maybe a gust of wind around Avila, very close to Salem. So the winds will start to pick up in this part of Saline County, not seeing any rotation into Pulaski County or Saline County. Let's continue to go down the line here just to give folks basically an update, making sure, because pretty much all central Arkansas is under a tornado watch until 4 o'clock. Now, here in Pulaski County and Saline County, we should be done with the threat of severe weather maybe as early as 1 o'clock this afternoon, but certainly we should be done with the threat of severe weather by 2. This is where we'll have to watch out for the potential of any storms starting to go strong, possibly severe. As this line continues to develop, right now it's just primarily heavy rain, but there could be some gusty winds, maybe even some small hail if these storms continue to grow. And of course, we have to watch what happens within that line, because there could be maybe a little bit of twist in the atmosphere embedded within the line, but also these cells all by themselves. Those are the troublemakers we certainly have to keep an eye on throughout the course of the afternoon, because when you have a cell all by itself, it can feed off this warm and humid air mass. It's a buffet for them to maintain their strength, continue to grow in strength and intensity, and then also as that storm grows up into the atmosphere, it taps into that low-level jet, and that's when they start to rotate and potentially produce a tornado. And looks like the tornado threat today, it's low, but it is there, and primarily they'll be brief tornadoes. But still, we don't want to let our guard down. Once again, if you're just joining us right now, Ouachita County, here's the tornado warning in effect just to the northwest of the city of Camden and just to the east of the community of Bluff City. Let's zoom in once again, Corrales. Let's take a look at some more communities. So we've got, so there's Bragg City. Bluff City, yeah, I was getting Bluff City and Bragg City confused. So yes, it is to the east of Bluff City. Bragg City is seeing that potential of rotation right over your neck of the woods, and also Good Hope and Chedester. So Leicester Junction, here is where the rotation is. We're looking at the Little Rock radar at this time, but it's going to be in this area. We're kind of high in the atmosphere when we take a look at Little Rock radar, but it's going to be this area. So even though you see this marker of where it could be, certainly all this area under the tornado warning from Highway 24, Highway 76, Highway 57. If you're watching us in this location, there could be a tornado, brief tornado, that happens at any moment. Most likely, hopefully it'll be weak, but we'll see. Right now, that rotation, do you think it's picking up, Corrales?
Well,
what do you see on the Storm Track 11?
Storm Track 11, I pulled up both the Little Rock and the Shreveport Storm Track 11 just to see how the rotation is looking like. This is, I'm gonna go ahead and move it on over. This is the Shreveport radar, and it's still showing, it's very broad, not very strong rotation as indicated. I'm going to go ahead and move that over for you guys. This is the tool that we use to kind of help define that for us. So
can you zoom out just a little bit? We're losing Camden, so just want to give people a perspective.
We'll zoom out a little bit there. So the rotation is where you see the little green and the blue right there. It's very disorganized, very broad. Like you mentioned earlier, it's a pretty broad area where the rotation could be moving to just the west of the community of Camden to the north and east. So that's what we're seeing. It's matching up to what we saw here on our storm relative winds on our radar. So that's what we're seeing right now. So they're going to continue to hold on to that warning at least until the next 25 minutes.
And Corallys, as this cell makes its way off to the north and northeast, let's continue to span it out, because folks upstream could also see maybe a possible tornado warning into Dallas County and possibly even into Cleveland County if this cell holds together. It's been marching its way pretty close to Fordyce. So Fordyce, be on your guard, because once again, you have these cells into Columbia County. Moving into Union County, they have had a history of producing some damage. Whether or not it was a tornado around the Waldo community, we just don't know at this time, but they've had damage, and we'll continue to watch these cells make their way from Columbia County into Washita County, Calhoun County, eventually into Cleveland County and Dallas County. Those are going to be the next in line for the potential of severe weather within these cells that are developing. Once again, here in the metro, we're just seeing some heavy rain, but we still cannot let our guard down until this line makes its way through. And it should be out of the metro probably as soon as 1 o'clock, but it may take a little bit longer. So there's the newest severe thunderstorm warning. Now, does that have a tornado tag with it, Corallys?
If we can go ahead and switch right back over towards that, thank you, to our radar. So this one, it does. It's a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible. It's moving with winds up to 60 miles per hour. This is radar indicated, some hail being indicated. This is for Calhoun and Washita counties until at least 11:45. So they kind of expanded it. I would not be surprised if they do drop that tornado warning shortly, just because it's within the same area. And the rotation seems to have weakened a bit as well. I highlighted the number of strikes. It's only about 2 lightning strikes. Again, we use the lightning count as a tool to help us see whether or not it's strengthening or not. So we can check up on this storm to see whether or not it does strengthen or weaken later on, but it looks like they're slowly making that tornado warning polygon smaller and smaller. You kind of saw that right there. It's being eaten up by lots of different things going on, so I'll switch back over towards just showing where the warnings are to have a better idea what's going on. So that tornado warning is still in effect until 11:45. We have that new severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag also until 11:45 right underneath that. I know it gets a little bit confusing. You still want to treat that severe thunderstorm warning like the tornado warning, just because it has that potential of producing or having a tornado as well.
Yeah, basically the National Weather Service has decided to go with these different impact warnings to basically say, okay, there's not enough rotation to go and issue a tornado warning necessarily, but there is rotation in the mid part of the atmosphere that could make its way down to the ground with little to no warning. So when that happens, the National Weather Service decides to go with a severe thunderstorm warning, but when you have this yellow outline and this darker orange versus a typical or general severe thunderstorm warning, that means you just have to be on your guard, because there could be a tornado, a brief tornado embedded within this line of severe storms making its way through Washita County, now getting into Calhoun County. So Camden, once again, you're not under an official tornado warning, but you are under a severe thunderstorm warning that does have the potential of going to a tornado warning with little to no notice. So just be on your guard. The highest velocities or the highest winds that we're seeing with the potential of twisting again remains just off to your west. Let's take a look at the winds once again, Corallys, and let's take a look at Shreveport's radar, because that's a little bit closer to the surface. So we definitely have a little bit of issues with the radar. It looks like we've got some bad data, but if there is something here, it's going to be right there. So switching over to Little Rock, it's higher in the atmosphere, but it does give a clear picture on what's happening. So this is going to be the area, once again, Bragg City, Highway 24, very close to Good Hope, and this is making its way off to the northeast about 35 miles per hour. So Highway 7, this rotation is going to continue to move off to the north and northeast. So if you're watching us along Highway 7, be on your guard, because there's a storm. It does show rotation, and it may produce a brief tornado at any moment. Camden, you're not included in that. That rotation is just off to the northwest of you, but there you see Lester Junction and a lot of county roads in this part of Ouachita County. As we zoom in, you see all the county roads. So again, hopefully this is just a lot of woods. That would be the best case scenario. If it does happen and there is a tornado that drops from the cloud, it stays in a wooded area and doesn't affect any homes. But we have still several hours to go with this potential of strong to severe thunderstorms, especially in southeast Arkansas. Corrales, if we go over to the latest tornado watch and show folks at home where that tornado watch is, and then after that, let's take a look at the models on what we can expect throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, so it's loading right now. So we are under a tornado watch for all those areas that you see highlighted in the yellow until 4 o'clock. So it includes parts of central, south central, and southwest Arkansas for the next 4 hours or so. That red you see there is that tornado warning that we're tracking right now. So this is going to continue on as the cold front pushes on through. The risk will be shifting towards eastern Arkansas into the last half of the afternoon hours. It's going to be quickly moving. So that's what we're seeing right now until 4 o'clock. We are under a level 2 out of 5 risk for some severe weather. And even though that's on the lower end, it's not necessarily 0. And we've been mentioning to you guys that it doesn't need to be a super high threat in order for there to be the potential for strong to severe storms or even some spin-ups. So far, most of what we've seen have been a few tornado warned storms, nothing set in stone just yet. We still need to hear back for more confirmation, especially what we saw in the community of Waldo. So we're going to continue to kind of provide you guys updates with that, but I'm going to switch it right back to radar once again for you guys so we can talk more about the tornado warned storm, which is still in effect for another 20 minutes until 11:45. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an updated track. It's still moving towards the north and east at about 35 miles per hour. So I'll zoom in just a bit more for you guys. It's a very small polygon, but even though it's within that large severe thunderstorm warning, you still want to treat the whole warning as if the severe thunderstorm warning as if it is tornado warned. So I'm going to try to find the center where the rotation is using the Little Rock radar site, and I'm going to track it towards the north and east, moving at 35 miles per hour. So it's still in the same settings towards the north and east roughly, so we can get more communities to see what the path is for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and redo that once again. Looks like it was just cut off a little bit for you guys. So if you guys recognize any of these communities, like we mentioned Bragg City is just to your east at center of the rotation. And now we have more areas highlighted. We have the community of, excuse me if I pronounce this wrong, Veli, and we have St. Mary Church at 1141. Then further down road, we have the small community of Amy Smead Church at 1146. And it looks like did they drop that warning at all? It's kind of hard to tell here.
No, they still have it.
Okay, so that warning is still there. And then we also have the community of Holly Grove Church at 1156, should be right at your doorstep. So if you recognize any of these areas, or hey, if you know anybody who lives in these communities, give them a heads up. Tell them hopefully that they're paying attention to the radar, and tell them to find a safe place to hunker down as the storm continues to pass. So it looks like they're still continuing the tornado warning from what I'm seeing from the updates. So right now it is near Poison Springs State Park, about 8 miles northwest of the community of Camden. So just something to keep in mind.
And that's highlighting exactly where you pointed out,
Yes.
because you can see the label there for Poison Springs Battleground State Park. That rotation is right located over that region, Bragg City. Again, it's moving off to the north-northeast, about 35 miles per hour. So if this holds together, Dallas County, be on the lookout, okay? Holly Springs, just be ready to take your tornado precautions if this tornado warning is extended in your neck of the woods. That certainly is a possibility because this cell is by itself. Let's go over to the rain tool of the radar, Corallys, and you won't be able to see this system. You won't be able to see the tornado because it's going to be embedded within the rain. It's going to be rain wrapped. You can see heavy rain taking place. This is where the rotation is. This is where the heavy rain is. And yeah, it's pretty much right in the middle of the heavy rain. So heavy rain, and then you're going to get this swirl of wind if there is a tornado on the ground. And that continues to make its way off to the community very close to Amy. You're not under the tornado warning for the community of Amy or Highway 7, this part of Highway 7 just yet. The National Weather Service is still watching what's happening with this cell, how the evolution is in terms of does rotation stick around, is it strengthening, is it weakening? But let's span it out here, Corallys, once again, in case people are just joining us right now, because we are watching more cells again down to the south. These are making their way off to the north and northeast. So I really want to highlight southeast Arkansas, okay? Cleveland County, Lincoln County, Calhoun, Bradley, Drew, Deshay, Arkansas County, Jefferson County. This area, you have not seen much going on other than that one storm that made its way through earlier. But this part of the state, the atmosphere is a little more unstable and will have a better potential of producing some strong to severe thunderstorms. Main threats again today, damaging wind gusts. There could be dime to quarter size hail, but we've got enough twist in the atmosphere and those storms could tap into that twisting mechanism and go tornadic. So just heads up through the afternoon in this part of the state. If you're watching us in Star City, if you're watching us in Monticello, Fordyce, Risen, Hermitage, also Warren into Ashley County, Lake Village, Dumas, McGee, Tiller, Stuttgart, Pine Bluff, these areas, just be on the lookout because this line of storms will most likely remain intact and could strengthen over the next few hours as it makes its way into this part of Arkansas.
So I drew a line just
okay,
roughly,
yeah, I see that.
Where you still should be mindful and where you're likely in the clear. So anything west of that line, you're likely in the clear really for the rest of the afternoon. You guys did start off the morning with some spotty showers and storms that really did soak up a lot of the energy there. That area was already on the slim risk of seeing any of the severe weather. It was mainly east of this line. So you guys are still not in the clear just as yet. We are going to be seeing a cold front begin to push on through this afternoon. And once it does, anything behind that will be in the clear. So just a heads up on that. So what we can do, let's go ahead and zoom in once again on this storm, which is the only storm that we're seeing right now that is tornado warned. In terms of any updates, they're still planning on holding that warning until 11:45. And something I mentioned earlier, I was tracking the amount of lightning within that storm. This particular one, not necessarily the lightning south of it, but
that
in
one
the
down
tornado
to the
warning.
south is more concerning.
Yes, so it could mean it's shifting its energy maybe further south, something else is developing. So what I can do, I'll go ahead and look at the Shreveport winds so I can see if there's like any indications of rotation. A little bit of something there going on. So I think I would not be surprised if that's within that same line we see another warning expand from that. So it's just something to keep an eye out. There's lots of lightning being indicated there. What I can do is I'll switch on over to the Shreveport and look at our NROT tool, which helps look at the rotation if we want to switch over to our Storm Track 11 so we can see whether or not there is some rotation being indicated with that storm as well to confirm it. Thank you. There is a little bit. It's a little bit broad, but it's showing something there. We're going to keep an eye out on that one for sure. But it's not being indicated in the Shreveport radar in terms of that tornado warning to the north. You can see there's not much rotation going on. Switching over to the Little Rock radar, it is showing up on there. So I think it's still enough of that. Go ahead and move that over for you guys. Enough of that circulation still hanging on that storm, even though the lightning count has gone down. So just something to watch. We can go ahead and switch back over to our radar. Thank you for that.
Yeah, Corrales, I think that storm in Ouachita County is starting to get basically cut off from the inflow, from the warm, moist air, because this storm is developing down to the south. So this one could start to weaken quite a bit in Ouachita County, but this is going to be the new cell that we're going to have to watch out for that's starting to develop into Union County, and that is lifting its way off to the northeast. So there's Snow Hill, Hampton. Be on your guard because this cell will be headed in your direction if it continues to hold together, maintain its strength, and that uptick in lightning is certainly a concern because that tells us, the meteorologists, that the storm is growing significantly. The updraft, the inflow is starting to really kick in. And as that inflow starts to develop, that means this storm is going to continue to grow into the atmosphere, become stronger. And with that wind energy in place, we may have to start to be concerned about this one starting to produce rotation. You have a severe thunderstorm warning in Union County with a tornado possible tag because we are seeing rotation in the middle part of the atmosphere, but then that's also starting to drop its way a little bit closer to the surface. So heads up in northern Union County and into southern parts of Calhoun County. Rain has just arrived here at the THV 11 studios. It's just rain. Here's a live look from RView 11 on top of the Simmons Bank building. It's a good downpour. That could cause some minor flash flooding issues in poor drainage areas, smaller creeks and streams, and low-lying areas. We're going to contend with some heavy rain probably over the next hour or so, but this is good news because this will stabilize the atmosphere. So once again, here in Pulaski County and Saline County, let's go back over the radar just to make sure there's nothing suspicious out there. People are probably wondering what's going on, Corallys. Hey, we're getting heavy rain. There's no real lightning, it doesn't seem like, but certainly a band of some very heavy rainfall will cause some issues on the highways, slow things down quite a bit, but I'm not seeing any rotation from Pulaski County, Saline County, so that's some good news. You can clearly see it here into Ouachita County, but looks like right now, Pulaski County, Saline County, and Little Rock Metro just seeing some very heavy rainfall. Once this moves through, I think our threat of severe weather is going to be done here in the metro. So I think it's going to be out of here about 1 o'clock. We should be done with the threat of severe weather here in the metro. Different story, though, if you're watching us in southeast Arkansas.
So good news, they did drop that tornado warning just minutes ago. We still have some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect with that tornado possibility tag on it until at least 11:45. So another 10 minutes for these severe thunderstorm warnings, and then they'll continue to see what to do further down the road. Some of these storms still show a little bit some of that rotation, but we don't have any current or active tornado warnings at the moment.
Okay, Corallys, with that said, of course, we'll have more coming up on THV 11 at noon. Again, it's southeast Arkansas. You folks don't have much going on right now, and the atmosphere is much more unstable in this part of the state. So as this line makes its way from Ouachita County into Clark County, moving off to the east, they will be strong, possibly severe, damaging winds, large hail, but also we cannot rule out there could be a couple of brief tornadoes. We'll continue to update you throughout the afternoon. Chief Meteorologist Tom Brandon will be joining us this afternoon. But for now, I'm Meteorologist Nathan Scott. And for Meteorologist Corallys Ortiz, stay weather aware, and we'll see you at noon.